Uh, yes, Fred. Yes, Fred. If you're ready, you can let me know and we can start. Mm, Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Uh, so this is a very special celebration time where we're going to be celebrating women in AI and robotics. So as Robotics Society of Kenya, we believe in championing for diverse and equitable, access to robotics and AI. So our work in through policy advocacy for women, children, all across the different spectrum. So we're excited this month of March being International Women's Month. We're excited to bring to celebrate some of the women in the field who have done a lot of extraordinary things, and this is our time to celebrate them and to highlight the achievements that they've done, and also just discuss more on the challenges of what women face in the field of AI and robotics and innovation at large, STEM at large. And yes, we're excited to bring um, this webinar and just to have this time to discuss. So on to the first thing, we will be discussing about the different challenges that women face in terms of being in such a male-dominated career within tech, just tech generally, and especially in emerging tech areas like AI, robotics, and the like. Yeah, emerging tech, blockchain, and so on. And actually, when we look at global statistics, we see that women make up around 20%, 20 to 25% of the global workforce in AI and robotics as a combined field, and of course, scaling it down to the African context or people of color, that makes up only less than 5%. So we see, as much as there has been improvement in the recent years to have more women come into the field and just take up more of engineering roles, there's still much to be done in terms of more advocacy, more empowerment of young girls in schools to take up these careers. So I think one of the challenges that we have that has been highlighted before is in terms of the gender bias. Yeah. So especially within the African context, we have a lot of gender bias in STEM-related subjects. I think that's why it starts from school. As young girls transition to higher learning institutions, most of them find it very difficult. Like they'd say, a subject like mathematics, for example, physics, they would, say like those are mostly boy-related subjects, and girls would tend to go to more social sciences, things like hospitality, communication, which are all nice, but most of them are now, it's more of a mentality being passed on. That these subjects are more attuned to the males, and the females are likely to succeed in more social science, or artistic careers, so to speak. Yeah. And I think even with that, I can share a bit of my story as to how I will manage to overcome the gender bias and get to pick my career in the STEM, yeah, specifically computer science and informatics. So basically, for me, back in high school, I was in a national girls' high school, and then it was very competitive because we were, the best girls in the country after our the national primary examination. Everyone was the best in the county, so all the best brains like met in one room, right? And from that school, most people would assume you'd rather, you'd go to more. During my time, the key careers were you're either a doctor, you're either a lawyer, or a teacher. So those were what were called the mainstream careers back then. So we really didn't have more of people within tech programming. That's back in the around 2010, 2012, thereabout. So tech wasn't as mainstream as it is currently. So it was still quite nascent, especially here back in Kenya, um, in high schools and high schools and tertiary institutions. So it wasn't so mainstream back then. So back then in high school, we had, and I think what this is something that really helped me. We had career sessions where different alumni from the school kind of speak to the girls, tell them what they do. So it was more of a career talk where the alumni groups. So and they organized this session. Just it was like an exploration, yeah. So back in high school, you're still confused. You don't know, what to do. Do you and there's the career option that your parents want you to be. They want you to either be a doctor, lawyer. For me, I think mine was a doctor. Yes, it was definitely a doctor. Yeah, so I always knew I would be a doctor. Yeah, but back in primary, though, I wasn't such a fan of biology. I used to pass it very well, though I wasn't really, quite a fan. But I still knew I was going to be a doctor because that was what I was told from childhood all the way through. Like, yeah, being the doctor is the in thing. Yeah, it's the game. So back during these career sessions, so they had different clusters. So for people interested in the medical fields, so diverse things to do in the medical career field, medical sciences, and there were others also in business. Um, yeah, so it was quite like a full pack, and I was very curious at the time, just wanting to find out like what these other things do. I saw there was someone doing she was a mechanical engineer. Those very hard, fancy names back then. You're like, wow, what's this? Yeah. So I remember I said, because I already knew I was going to be a doctor, so I said I was not gonna go attend the medical cluster session. So I said, let me explore. Yeah. So my exploration, because the names were very interesting. So I think the name is what really hit me. Like mechanical engineer, computer engineer, software developer. So those ones they sounded really nice back then. So I was like, let me go and see what is this really all about. So I went into one of those cluster rooms, and one of the ladies, she was a developer working with Safaricom back then. Yeah. So she was explaining to us, how they get customer journey experience. They translate it into apps and all those like interesting things, and she'd give examples now. Uh, you know, like um, like SMS applications, I think social media was just beginning to, to make rounds back then. So she would give us very real, relatable examples, and I found that it was really pretty cool to make like applications and something that people can use. So that's where I think my interest was sparked. Um, yeah, and that's why I thought like, oh, I think this is something I'd really like to do. And from that exposure, I got interested, did of course more research, got her contact. We were able to keep in touch, and she was able to take me through the different um, technical courses. What to do to be a successful software engineer, developer, the different career fields, and so on and so forth. Right. So from then on, yeah, I think I told. Uh, so fast forward. Um, So fast forward after my high school, so after my final exams in my final national exams in high school, so I had qualified to do an engineering course because you had to have very good grades in math and physics, which I passed very well. And I also passed my other sciences like biology and chemistry. And actually, I had gotten scholarship to go to China to study medicine, right? Some form of medicine. I can't really recall. It was quite a long course. Then I was also now called for engineering, right? And then at least from my time, my parents were quite understanding of, not wanting to force me what career they wanted me to do, but what I'd like to do myself. So I explained to them like this is what I'd really like to do. I'd like to study engineering instead of doing medicine, all that. Of course, there was a bit of disappointment, but thank God they were still very much understanding, and I was able to enroll to. I was able to enroll first to a short course where I did, basic computer programming. Beyond learning the applications, there was also a programming unit where my very first language was C Sharp. I did a very, the Hello World, the very first time you make your first code, and then do it a simple calculator and all those, as you continue to build and progress. That was how my learning curve was before I finally joined university, and yeah, I did my course in computer science and informatics, and from then it's been a progressive journey from building, from being employed to building my own startup, being involved in various initiatives, and yeah, just being a thought leader in this space as well. So that has been my life journey for me in terms of, mm, you know, getting exposure, which I think is very fundamental in terms of the challenges. Because if I didn't have exposure, I would probably be somewhere right now in in Shanghai, somewhere in China, being a doctor. Maybe I would have come back home to be a medical doctor. The story would have been different, right? So having such opportunities where girls can be able to know, like it actually exists. So I think number one is exposure, letting these young girls know like there's such an option where you can be able to do this, get into this career field. This is what you'll be doing. Also seeing the others who have gone before them. So it just becomes normal. Yeah, it becomes like a normal thought process. Like it's not only male dominated. There are also women doing well in the space. They have gotten some very good awards. They're working for very nice companies. They're running their own companies. So it becomes very, very important. And I think with that, so with that kind of exposure, I didn't have the mentality that it's it's something hard, it's something for only boys to do, because I could already see there's already someone else doing it, and she loved it, and she was very passionate about it, and that's why I also wanted to venture into the world of computers, softwares, applications, yeah, because I could see someone had already walked the journey and was just successful in it. So I knew, of course, there's also opportunity for me to join in and succeed. Yeah. Yes. So beyond now exposure, there's also one thing. I think during in my time in career, so in school, when I was in school, we had two streams, right? So we were a total of 112 students, if I remember correctly, and out of them 84 were boys, and we were like about 12, 15 girls. Yeah, yeah. So you can see the ratios were quite very much imbalanced. Yeah. Mm, and from the 12 from our class, I think um, maybe some, of course, some of them probably um, they fell out along the way, and we ended up being seven. I think at the final at at our final year. Yeah. So even now within now studying the whole process uh, of having a career in tech, there's some biases, of course. Like I know the first classes of development, it can seem so hard because you need to know a lot of math. You have to be quite apt in math because programming basically is a lot. It's just step by step instruction. You'd have to know a bit of algebra, some calculus for you to know understand how the computer actually translates like human instructions into something actionable that you see on the screen, right? And some people really found it difficult to catch up and keep up with their coursework because it's quite demanding the number of hours you'd need to put into a project to work together in a team. So the frustration um, obviously made some of the girls who were with drop out. So I think there has to also be some form of mentorship, especially for young female students in STEM, um, who would feel overburdened or overwhelmed by the kind of demand such courses require. Yeah, because for you to do such a course, um, you need ample time. You need quite the time and the focus to build and to understand how different components work. So it's not like quite straightforward, and it would require some effort on your end. Yeah. So that's why I feel even during our time in school, having those mentorship or more community focused mentorship, yeah, where the young girls would come together and maybe learn from one of the female lecturers or just someone to mentor them. It would have been an easier journey to walk, and they wouldn't have felt frustrated or fallen out along the way, and that would have been something very ideal for them, right? I can imagine it would now be more who would have completed the course and gone into more technical careers. Yeah. Then the other thing would be finding diversity. Yeah, because tech is quite broad, right? Beyond so we have AI. In AI you can be very many things in AI, especially now with the Gen AI, generative AI making rounds uh, across the globe. You can be a prompt engineer, which you don't necessarily have to have the hardcore programming skills, or you can be, you can be now the one making behind the AI models behind the scenes. So you'd need to understand quite a bit of programming. So they're quite these uh, diverse things you can be able to do, like in the AI space alone, right? So I feel like now um, uh, these different aspects of exposure in terms of knowing like the different areas you can be able to excel in, and not just one which is portrayed more like the technical very hard thing, would also be something like a motivation for different girls and the ladies within the tech space to also know this is where they can also utilize their skills. It doesn't necessarily take up much time. You don't need to be so technical or you know um, put in much effort maybe in a particular engineering role as compared to the others. So I feel there are also quite a number of different roles that women would thrive more than others, for those who are not so technically oriented. And it's just for now for them to get the exposure and the opportunity to utilize their skills in these various spaces and not really be limited to only hardcore programming. Yeah, hardcore programming, which is the kind of the technical bit of it. Yeah. Then back to the other thing that would assist, in ensuring that more women get into this field and into the space would be, I think, very how do I put it? Very tailored opportunities, right? I know some companies and some group organizations have started very specific, like women in AI, to have different women-led programs. Yeah, and the reason I feel this is important because women would thrive more in a space where they feel safe, right? And I feel if they are together in a space where they see others being empowered, they would also thrive in such a space, especially for women in business like myself who have are building AI applications and thrive. I would like to go to the marketplace. The playing ground is a bit different because um, you'd be facing challenges like perception bias because you'd need to prove yourself twice as much as a male as a male colleague, for instance, right? Because these this is just society in general that have like they have a kind of mis I I don't know how best to put it, but it's kind of miscrude, yeah, a miscrude perception concerning women and their ability to execute technical or things that are considered very high, like high technical, you need high expertise. They're not really considered. They don't really consider women as brilliant, yeah, as their male counterparts. So for now, for that, that would mean ideal. Like in terms of funding, for example, if we look at the AI startup scene of how many have already, even just in the tech field generally, in terms of funding, how much funding has gone to women-led founders as compared to their male counterparts. You can see there's a very big disparity. Yeah. So it requires different, um, it requires like the very tailored opportunities where we'd have funding mechanisms for women, funding mechanisms for their businesses in tech, as well as, um, you know, even in recruitment and and training, it will have to be specific. Like you're looking for a female employee, not just uh, because they're qualified, one, and also because they need such spaces of or opportunities, just because of the bias that is currently that is currently propagated in our society. So it's very crucial to create such opportunities that would also encourage them to know, like, even if I pursue this, it's not in vain. There's, I can be able to apply my skills to this, to a particular company that wants me. I can build a business and get funding. So it gives them assurance and courage to continue building what they're doing and to continue to grow in that, in that space. Yes. So, and I think now in terms of moving from the various challenges and how we can be able to solve them for women in robotics, AI, and the tech field, we can look into some of the celebrations and achievements. We can start locally here. We can start now with the Robotics Society of Kenya, where we have quite a number of promising young women who are doing amazing and extraordinary things in the field. Yeah, so maybe I can just give a quick shout out to some of them uh, who who are there's one who are abroad and they're doing amazing work in the university in terms of research. We are researching different areas, computing, AI. They've gotten scholarships and yeah, so those are women who are doing extraordinary things in the world of academia and research, trying to see how best to come up with new solutions that are relevant to, humankind problems and how to apply technology to solve some of the world's pressing problems, from agriculture to climate resilience and so on and so forth, right? So a big shout out to them, to the ladies who are part of the Robotics Society of Kenya doing amazing work, and of course to others within the country of Kenya and the continent and the globe at large doing amazing work, right? I think, and just in healthcare, I think there are quite a number of ladies who can share some of their links to some of their amazing work, but that some of our members are doing across healthcare, even to us who are building their own businesses, startups in robotics as well. And if you're keeping up with the global news, you'd see there's a lady who's doing social robotics, and she's championing for use of environmentally friendly robots, as well as improving human robotics interaction. So there's quite a lot of things happening within this space, and a lot of women who are taking the lead in that. Yeah. And of course, even with teams that have these women within, or for organizations rather than companies that have women within their teams, they can say like this strength in diversity, where of course women have different unique inputs as compared to their male counterparts. They're able of in terms of their work ethic and dedication and passion, they're able to see, it gives a different taste or flair to a project that they are working on, right? So you'd see the women's input would be much different. And of course, it adds more diversity and strength and skill to the overall project, ensuring optimized results for different project cases across industries. Beyond that, I think after celebrating some of those achievements, even for us in robotics, is a project that I personally am leading, a generative AI tool that we're building to ensure we have personalized learning experience for learners within the higher learning and tertiary institutions. So that's also going to be a plus for our learners and our students. So we celebrate that achievement as well. Um, we also have different partners who are tutors, educators, quite a number of them who are teaching young children across different schools, different institutions to learn how to code, to program using Scratch, using these age microcontrollers. So we celebrate the many educators and tutors who are part of us and who are doing an amazing job in training children. Robotics and AI. Of course, we'll give them a shout out and leave their details on the comment section for people to go and see after the live webinar is over. So I think we have discussed any most of the challenges. We have had shadows of the celebrations of women doing extraordinary things within the field, and also what we are doing as Robotic Society to champion for women in robotics, in AI, and in tech, and in STEM overall, by giving them the platforms such as this to share their achievements, to share their stories, their challenges, their journeys, to inspire the next generation of young leaders, to young females as well, telling them it's possible. There are those who have gone before you. It's a very promising field, and just to speak into for their next generation of female leaders who want to embark in this journey of AI, robotics, and tech in general. It's very much possible. You have the ability, you have the courage. I think all it just takes is curiosity and courage to be bold, to take up this and to start on this journey of your tech career in AI, robotics, or any other STEM related field. As long as you have the passion and as long as you know you're willing to learn, because as a tech person, as you're a builder, you're an innovator, you look at things as problems and you are the solution bringer. Yeah. So all you need to do is to have that particular mindset of, right, you have this particular challenge, you have this as a tool. So looking at tech and AI, STEM, everything else related as tools to be able to solve a particular problem, right? So with that kind of mindset, you'll be able to develop very amazing solutions. You'll be a very sought after, professional, because you're very skilled. You need to build your craft. Number one, you need to build your craft. You'd have to know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, you need to take quite some time to build and study and understand how the tool works, how you'll be able to build this, so that even when you're put on spot, you can defend yourself and see your competency can be brought forth, right? So, and you'd avoid this bias of people saying that, the like ladies don't know what they're saying in tech, and they're quite blank, and more of the biases and stories that go around. But if you take your time, learn your craft, be good at what you do, of course you'll gain the respect, and you'll be the thought leader within that space. Then number two, as an upcoming female leader within this space, would be to also be confident in your ability, be courageous, be bold, because trust me, as long as if you don't believe in your idea, in your ability, no one else will, right? So you have to take that stand, that step. Know you're the best. You have what it takes to deliver whatever you need to deliver. Um, you are well able, so you have to know that there's no one else who's going to do it for you but you, right? So it's just for you building up your personality, building up your character, and being very confident in your ability in what you can be able to deliver, because you're very competent. You believe you can give the best because you're the best, yeah, and you give the best output. Yes, and with those few remarks, I think I'd like to close on that, and obviously wish every upcoming female leader all the best within their journey, and tell them, young people, you can do this. Just take time, hone your craft, build your courage, and you'll be able to go far. Yes, so thank you very much. Thank you for joining us, and for joining us in this celebration webinar where we've talked about the challenges, opportunities, and celebration of women doing outstanding things within the field, as well as giving tips to the future generation on how they can start their career and thrive in it as well. So thank you everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.